Hey guys, so we're gonna do another upper body and core emphasized workout. So from the pelvis up, all you need is a set of dumbbells and a mat. So let's get started. So let's just go ahead and lie down on the mat. Take your feet flat on the floor, about hip width apart, and support your head, a little effort of the head pushing into the hands. And then I just want you to give me a basic crunch, just nice and easy. Kind of building a little bit of heat along the torso. As you're working up and down, I want you to feel as if you're doing a little bit of a compressive exhale on that lift. Just a few more here. We're going to slow it down and increase our range of motion. Instead of a single count, go up for 2. And then lower down for 2. So a little less momentum. Still actively pushing your head back into your hands. We're going to do a few more of these. Seeing if you can get your rib cage to lift a little bit more off the floor without jutting your head forward. And just like we did a second ago, let's increase our time. Take 4 counts to lift up. Come all the way to a sit-up, and then roll back down 4 counts. Do that again, 4 counts up. Notice I'm using my hands to assist, getting a little bit more of that articulation, or moving joint by joint. So I'm a little stiff here. So if you don't need your hands, just extend them forward. Same 4 counts all the way up. As you get to the top, instead of thrusting your ribs forward, I want you to think of working your spine a little bit more vertically in that extension upward. Go back to 2 counts, but the same range of motion. And again, 2 counts. Let's go for 4. Getting a little bit more length along the upper traps, the shoulders, and a little bit more retraction between your blades. Then go ahead and release it all the way down. Bring your knees to your chest, your arms down by your sides, and with a little bit of that hugging of the shoulders into the floor, I want you to feel your ribs, the base of your ribs knit down, and a little hand press, but bring your knees in towards your chest. So in a little reverse curl motion, or like a crunch, but from the bottom up. Notice if your shoulders are jutting off the floor, or you're getting a little bit of hyperextension in your neck. See if you can really recruit more of that downward rotation of your scap and activate your lats to support on that reverse tuck. Let's go for 4 more here. Put your feet back down. Sit all the way up. 4 counts. Roll all the way down. Give me that little reverse curl. Again, sit up. Roll down. That little reverse curl. Full sit up. So just a nice easy combo here. Do that again, full sit up. Without working a lot of momentum, a little bit faster. Sit up, reverse curl. Sit up. Make sure when you're working that reverse curl that you're still active along your lats or underneath your shoulder blades into your waist. Let's do 2 more. And then go ahead and roll over onto your belly. Working another combination, but this time more extension or more of your back body. I want you to find that same kind of hollowing in your belly like you were doing your crunch. Extend your arms and legs, and we're gonna lift just the upper body. So I want you to really drive from the pelvis into hip extension with that same core bracing. Lift your arms, shoulders, and head. Lower down, do that again. Lift, lower down, repeat that. So your glutes and your hamstrings are active to help stabilize the lumbar. But when you lift your upper body, make sure you're not breaking a lot of that thoracic spinal extension. You can still feel that front body tensing. So it's much more of the muscularity to lift versus just that shift into the joints. 2 more, just that lift and hold. Lower down, repeat that. On the hold next time, I want you to give me a row back, both arms. Do that again. See on that row that you can maintain that front rib cage, pulling or knitting towards the front pelvis. Glutes are still active. Feet are still on the ground. Four more of these. Let's go to then go ahead and press up onto your hands and knees, kind of loosening up a little bit more. With your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees right underneath your hips, just give me a little cat stretch, cow stretch, kind of going back and forth. Letting your hips pull under, your chin tuck, your shoulder blades separate. And then the reverse, a little flare of your ribs, a little chin lift, a little pelvic rotation forward. So now that we're nice and warm, we're going to continue on the floor. Only I want you to grab your weights and grab weights for chest with a little combination of emphasizing a wide and a narrow grip. But since this is combining torso or core musculature, like everything does, I want you to bring your legs to tabletop, or 90 at the knee, 90 at the hip. Take the palms to face in. Draw your shoulder blades down your back so it feels long through the upper back. And you're just gonna rotate open into a slow 2 count. Chest press. All the way back up to the top. Down 2 counts. Up 2 counts. So as you're rotating, notice if your elbow is rising above the shoulder level. I want you to get just a little bit more below, even with that kind of limited range, since the floor is your contact point. Notice if your low back is losing pressure against the floor. There's that same core bracing from the outside in, and breathe into that brace. Now instead of opening the elbows, brush them right by your side. Push it back up to the top. So every time you bring the hands to the top, I want those dumbbells to touch. So we're getting a little adduction of the arm. 4 more with this close grip. So throughout all of this, still thinking about that core bracing. Nice neutral position of the hips and knees. Combine a slow wide elbow press and a narrow press. Elbows right by your sides. 1 more slow, wide and narrow. Now take it a little bit faster. Wide and press, narrow press. Key component here, as you lower the arms, I want you to notice if the back of your shoulder or the upper arm bone is off the floor, i.e. are you in a little bit of anteversion of that arm bone? Can you keep it back against the floor or very close so we're maintaining a good spinal to shoulder contact? We're going to add another component here because that's just the way we go. Very rarely are we one-dimensional here. As you open up the arms, extend a leg. Switch sides. You're still alternating wide and narrow, wide and narrow. Option as you open, take both legs straight out. Again, notice if your low back is losing contact. 8, 7. Your front base ribs knitted forward and down towards the pelvis. That's it. Then I want you to go ahead and take those weights in front of you. Position yourself as if you were going to do that narrow row or the narrow press, or you just were. I'm going to do this kneeling for a little less shoulder load. Option can be up on your feet, but I want your hips to be extended so you're in a strong plank. Shoulders in slight protraction or feeling your lats. Then you're going to lower into a narrow push-up position. The head isn't jutting forward, but the sternum leads the way. Now take it down 2 counts. Hold it at the top for 4, 3, 2, lower down 2 counts. Hold 4 counts. Take it down 2 counts. Row one arm, row the other arm. Do that again. Row one arm, then the other. One, then the other. As you row alternating sides, work to keep your hips pretty level or square to the floor. Again, a little tricep push-up. Again, variation can be on your toes or throughout the set. If you notice the head or pelvis leading the way, come to your knees like me. Down 2. Up 2. Row, row. Again, down 2. Up 2. 2 rows. You have 4 more just like this. Those hips in a strong extension or driving from the glutes. 2 more just like this. Last time. Let's turn it back over. Repeating what we did on that first round. Chest, narrow and wide grip, starting in tabletop with that leg position. Give me that single chest press, just out and in. Back of the head of the shoulder or the arm staying there against the floor. Narrow your grip or narrow your position. Combine it. 1 wide, 1 narrow. 1 wide, 1 narrow. So right now with our knees at 90, our hips at 90, we're pretty neutral in the load to the lumbar spine. If you'd like to intensify that, as we continue the arms, I want you to extend the legs to a comfortably uncomfortable holding position. You have 4 more alternating. So we're just putting ourselves in a little bit more compromised load into that lower abdominal region in how it pulls on the front of the lumbar spine. Add one leg, then the other. Variation, both legs. You have 4, 3, 2, flip it over. I don't know about you, but the front of my shoulders are really feeling tight and warm. We're gonna balance that out in just a moment. Find your push-up position, good hip extension. Slow narrow push-up. One row, then the other. Narrow push-up. One row, then the other. The wider your feet or your knees, the more stable you're gonna feel on that single arm row. All the while maintaining that really strong plank position in your torso. You have 3 more. Two rows. Last time. Go ahead and move the weights to the side for a second so we don't stay in a really tight, almost kyphotically rounded position. I want you to take your hands behind your back, find some shoulder extension or pulling of the arms back in the socket, and then add a little thoracic extension, but feel your ribs knit in. Maybe a little greater shoulder extension with a lift. Just creating more space in the front of that arm. We're gonna leave that series behind. We're gonna go on to our second of 4. And I want you to go ahead and move yourself to a side plank position, but we're gonna go low. And I want you to take one weight with you, stack your knees, stack your shoulder above your elbow, and find a lot of forearm press. I want you to bring your top arm to hold the weight, but at your shoulder. And then you're just gonna hip bridge or come to a side plank with a strong hip drive. Bring it all the way back down. Do that again, hip drive. Feel your lats on that bottom side, assisting with that hip lift. Do that again, but drive that dumbbell up. If this is not enough resistance in the plank, lower down. Then I want you to stack your legs. You can have a staggered stance for a little less instability. So a nice strong hold on that press. Do that slow one more time. Lower back down, now take it in singles. Just drive, drive. So from that bottom lat into the lateral hip of the same down side, driving the arm up. 8, 6, 4, 2, go ahead and switch sides. Flip it on over. And again, option can be to stack the legs or even stagger. But I want you in a really good, almost between 2 panes of glass torso into that upper arm. Find that bottom rib cage pulling up so there's a lot of pressure down to get that leverage. Top arm holds the weight, bring it to your shoulder, drive that bottom hip, find a side plank. lower down, drive up. Again, finding that whole lateral body tension, lower down, repeat that. And getting a feel for stability before we add motion of that top arm. We've got a few more slow like the first side. Drive that top arm up. Find that drive from the bottom press, so the leverage coming up. Lower down, do that again. Drive. Can you feel the opening of that bottom neck and shoulder? Lower down. Slow. Hollowing your belly, knitting those front ribs. Last time, slow. Notice how one side compares to the other. Let's go to single counts. Drive. Hip drive. Bottom shoulder, bottom forearm. 6, 5, 4, 2. Go ahead and release that. Keep your one weight. Recline on your back. Lower yourself down. And like that beginning, I want you to use that weight though this time. Sit all the way up, roll all the way back. So that weight in front of us is actually assisting, like the hand pull on the thighs earlier, because it's loading past the fulcrum. Go ahead and lift back up, 4 counts. And lower down. Now give me a 2 count lift, a 2 count lower. One more. Hold it on the floor. Walk those feet so they're underneath your knees. Rest that weight right across your pelvis as you open up your shoulders. Give me a hip bridge. Driving from that gluteal fold. So we have that same strong lumbar extension and core bracing all the way around. You have 8 more hip bridges. Check in with the front of your shoulders. Are they starting to pop off the floor? Or I should say the back of your shoulders. Give me that slow 2 count sit up. And then that hip bridge 2 times. Slow sit up. Hip bridge twice. Sit up, but reach the weight overhead. Those 2 bridges. Full sit up. You have 4 more in combo. Three more. Two to go. Just one more like this. Find your side plank. So we're going to repeat that back and forth. Top arm is the second side we're doing first this time. So again, 2 panes of glass, find that good opening. Go right to the hold in that side plank, getting your positional adjustment. Lower down, add your shoulder press, reaching up. Again, that opening of the chest, 2 panes of glass. Let's go to singles. 16. Equal drive from the bottom and the top arms. You have 8. Four more. Let's switch sides. Stacking that nice solid plank from a side position. Press up into your side bridge. Find your positioning. Lower down. Add your top arm this time. Again, getting that feel for your positioning. Let's go to 16 singles. Reaching. Equal pressure, bottom and top arm. Six, 5, that's it. Recline on your back. Weight comes with you. Full sit up, 2 counts, but reach the weight overhead. All the way up, just the sit up. Can you get those arms right by your ears as you sit all the way up without losing that rib cage position in front? Let's go 2 more like this. Then stay reclined, just your hip bridges. Hug your blades back. Keep those front ribs knitted down. And again, hip drive versus back drive. Notice if you're losing pressure in your toes. It's the dominance in the heels, but make sure your toes are down. 8 more. And we're going into combo in 2 more. Sit all the way up, 2 counts overhead reach. 2 quick hip bridges. Sit all the way up. Hip bridge. Sit up. We have 6 more. Not sure about you guys, but feeling better and better as we continue. It's as if there was a little bit more of a warm-up necessary for me. This is your last one. Then I want you to go ahead and put that weight off to the side for a second. Come all the way off the floor. Take both hands behind your back, and as you extend the shoulder like we did on the floor, I want you to find a little thoracic extension, maybe a little bit more shoulder extension, but now I want you to widen your stance and give yourself a forward fold, taking that shoulder extension overhead with a little release to the lumbar, getting the lower body ready. It's gonna have to help us a little bit with these next few. Release your arms, open up your neck and shoulders, just traction with gravity, and round and roll all the way back to standing. I want you to take both weights. Think bicep curls. And you're gonna position yourself with your left leg forward and right leg back. I want you to come down into a deep split squat. We still have that same core bracing and extension, but give me a 2 count bicep curl. Since this is an upper body emphasis, We're gonna stabilize from that split squat position from the pelvic region to maintain that core support. Single counts, both arms. And really load into that forward heel, the big toe mound. I want you to continue with single counts, but one arm then the other. So regardless of what the arms are doing, feel that brace from the external core and the breath into that external brace. One goes up, one goes down. Little simultaneous quick bicep curl. Shoulder blades like you're holding a row in the back. You have 8 more. 7. 4, 3. Go ahead and lose one weight. Don't forget which foot you had forward. I started left, so next time I'm gonna do right, just to make sure we're balanced. I want you to take your feet nice and wide. Sink into a little bit of a goblet squat. Toes and knees are a little bit more forward than you would in that position. But I want you to hold that weight at your chest while maintaining that torso solid or keeping that spinal focus in vertical. I want you to press that weight front to side, to side, to front, back to the front, side, side, back to the front. Now press it overhead, to the side, to the side, to the front, overhead. Notice how your feet are staying solid. I'm alternating sides, by the way. Overhead, side, side, front. Whole back body is tense to stabilize that weight from pulling the shoulders forward. Take it double time. Overhead, side, side, front, overhead, side, side, overhead. I messed up. Overhead, side, side. You have 4 more rounds. Up, side, side, front, or whatever combo feels good to you. Feels like Monday, but it's not. Every day is Monday. That's it. Grab your pair. Find your right foot forward. Again, that split squat stance. Deep. Hollow your belly. Find extension of your spine. Slow bicep curl. 2 counts. 2 counts. Same idea, single counts, both arms. So again, how strong can you maintain that torso's line, regardless of where the arms go? Alternate singles, one then the other. Every movement requires a lot of that torso brace and a really good strong thoracic upper back, simultaneous, up and down. So there's a lot of arm or limb motion, but it really has to come from a strong center. 6, 5, 4, 2, go ahead and lose one weight. Stand in that wide stance, a little bit of a squat, overhead slow. One side slow, other side. To the front, overhead. Side to side, overhead. Double time this. Front. I messed up again, huh? Woo! Let's try that again. Overhead, side, side, front, overhead. You guys got it right. Again, overhead. Can you move from your center really strongly without a lot of hip shift You have 4 more. 3, 2, last round. Leave that series behind. Once again, hands behind your back, extension of your shoulders, extension of your mid-spine, finding a little bit more shoulder extension or lift. Widen your stance, forward fold. So that was our third of 4. Gently release your arms. Round and roll all the way up. Grab some weights, and I want you to think of a bent over or a rear fly. So we're gonna try and balance all that front body tension. You're probably feeling a lot of that anterior chest, front of the shoulder, biceps. Now I wanna get a little bit more expansion. Even though 90% of our day, maybe more, is forward loaded, or strong there, or short there, we wanna get a little bit more balance. So I want you to hinge forward from your hips, keep that spine and neck long, and then just start to open your arms to a fly. As you fly, see about maintaining that front rib cage with a little solid pull to the pelvis. As you fly, tap one leg back, then the other. Hips are staying as square as possible to the front. Just one side in opposition. You have 4 more. Can you feel the front diagonal across, trying to maintain a little bit of support so you don't open up in excess in the back? That's it. I want you to grab some weights for shoulder presses, if different than the ones you're holding. Take your feet about shoulder, maybe hip width. You're gonna squat down. As you rise from that squat, you're gonna go into an upright row and a rotation. From that position, you're going to overhead press. Lose it all the way down to your sides. Squat again. Clean, and then press. Come all the way down. Let's do that a little faster. All the way down, in and up. Make that squats motion upward, or the extension upward, drive the arms through the trunk to get that press. So finishing up with a nice, strong, complete, systematic motion in power. Takes a little lower, but a lot of that transmission is because of that strong trunk to get to the arms. You have 4 more. When you get to that overhead press, keep that same plank sensation from hip through torso. That's it. Grab your weights for those rear flies. Come again into that hip hinge, that forward extension, and fly both arms. Four more like this. Then we're going to single side. In opposition, take the leg, tap it back. So if you have your left arm going, it's the right foot, right arm, left foot. It's almost like Twister, right foot red, left foot green. Multitasking, right? 6, 5. So much shoulder in today's workout. That's it. Find your weights for that clean and press. Squat. Slowly upright row to your clean, and then press overhead. Take it all the way down a little faster. Squat, clean, press. Think about the torso. This is that upper body core emphasis. 8. 4. 'Last time. Nice job, you guys. Go ahead and move those weights to the floor. Want you to go ahead and recline. Find yourself all the way on your back. Take your knees to your chest. Let yourself rock and roll just a few times, kind of easing some of that low back to mid back tension from staying strong and lengthened, whether we were upright, standing, in a side plank, or even in that prone position. And then gently release. Take your right ankle, cross it over your left knee. Your 2 arms out into a T position, kind of opening from the chest. And then I want you to rotate your legs to the right, since that right leg is pulling the left knee. More importantly, I want you to feel the rib cage on that left side rotating back to the floor and reaching out through that left arm, starting from the rib cage but moving from the shoulder through to the fingers. Giving yourself a nice little thoracic twist and opening across that anterior shoulder from a lot of front body emphasis today. And then come back to center. Take your left knee, switch sides, left ankle over your right knee. Rotate to the left. Once again, as you rotate, feel your right rib cage move a little bit more posteriorly or towards the floor. Extend out through that arm bone and out through the fingers. Just kind of resetting what's going on, back to a little bit more neutrality. And then moving to the standing position. One of my favorite stretches, kind of like child's pose, but you get a lot more range of motion. So go ahead and bring yourself back to center, using the legs for a little momentum. Help yourself up, move to a wall. And in that wall's position, I want you to walk your feet back far enough that when you plant your hands against the wall, that you can find a lot of that hip drive, almost like you're squatting or deadlifting, but more importantly, your rib cage base is driving to the floor in front, and you're clawing your arms up the wall like you would be forward in a child's pose to get much more of that kind of under lateral side of your scap, but also coming into the pecs and how it kind of connects into that front rib cage, the upper ribs. And then take some wide, expansive lower belly, back breaths. So you notice much more of the diaphragmatic action downward, where all that tension tends to sit in the upper lungs, the upper shoulder girdle, everything that really gets tight and restricted. And then keep one arm on the wall, take the opposing arm across the body, rotate into that and find a long lateral push or drive. So you're getting more of that rotational aspect, but with that shoulder flexion and a lot of that connection down into your waist. And then come back to center, switch sides. One arm claws, the other rotates, lateral push of that shoulder blade, little twist into it. Feels good to come back to neutral. Nice quick workout. As you come back to center, widen your stance, sweep your arms up overhead. Take a nice full deep breath in and exhale all the way out. Have a great day, you guys. See you next time.